Hi everyone, John from LookSmart Home Inspections here, doing great home inspections throughout the state of New Jersey. I have a video for you today that's just going to focus on defects. So defects that I found in homes the last couple weeks just doing home inspections. And my hope is that, you guys learning about these defects are things that you can look for in your own home and things that you might be able to look for in homes that you're thinking about buying. So let's take a look and see what we have. So I'm in a 1960s built house, and this is a slab construction. So what I want to do is we always want to open some of these vent covers. And the interesting thing here is that we have what appears to be asbestos lined ductwork. So back in the day when the house was built, they lined the ductwork with probably this asbestos material here. And that's something that is obviously concerning because we don't want asbestos in the house, and we have forced air, flowing over it. It's usually not a friable issue. In other words, it doesn't really come into the air readily, but it's something that is important because if this customer accepts the house and goes and sells the home later, this is something that's likely to come up. So a very important defect, and we have to remember to always look for this in a slab constructed home. So I'm just walking around this house, and look what we have here. This is an electrical wire right here that's run across the driveway. This is an active driveway, and this is a piece of Romex wire that feeds electrical power to this light post right here, right there. But it is run across a driveway, unprotected, just out in the blue like this, exposed to the weather, chafing, cars running over it. So this is an immediate hazard that has to be immediately fixed, because this is a hazard. A child can grab this wire, somebody can cause damage to the wire. We can electrify a puddle if one were to develop right here. So this is kind of a big deal, needs immediate corrective action. So I'm just inspecting this kitchen, and we're going to let some water run out of this sink here. We're going to see what happens. We want to just make sure that the water is flowing well, it's going down, and then we're going to listen. That sound is a siphoning that's going on in the waste piping. So we don't have enough air behind water here, and it's causing this gurgling and this siphoning. So this should be corrected by a plumbing contractor, where either an air admittance valve is installed or this piping is tied into the main waste stack of the house, just so we get that air behind water and we don't have this siphoning action. So this is something we're going to put in the report. This can actually create sewer gas smell and odors which are unsafe entering the home, as well as creating a slow drain here at the kitchen sink. So I'm inspecting this crawl space, and I see this joist right here with all this damage. Look at that. Yep, that's not good. So one thing that we look at as home inspectors are pot lights or can lights. So we see under this insulation right here, I see a little light coming through. So what we need to do is just move this back a little bit. Let's pull this up, and we see we have a hi-hat light fixture right here. So this hi-hat light fixture, because I see this light coming through so prevalent, it's unlikely that this light fixture is going to be what we call an IC hi-hat light, which is a light capable of having insulation surrounding it and over it. Here we want to make sure that we pull back our insulation just so we don't create excess heat right here and have the potential of a fire hazard. Or I'm going to tell the client to replace these hi-hat lights with IC compliant hi-hat lights, so we can have insulation surrounding them, so we don't have pathways of air leakage through the attic space and we lose our heating efficiency. So this is something that should be corrected. So I'm inspecting this crawl space, and I see this joist right here with all this damage. Look at that. Yep, that's not good. So I'm outside of this home here. It's about a 1970s built house, and I'm just looking at what I have here. So this right here, and then we move across and we see this this cement plug, and then we move a few feet down and here's another cement plug. So this is an indication of a previous termite treatment in this house. So when we go inside, we're going to be careful at doing a proper termite inspection, looking to make sure there's no damage. But this is something that the client's going to be interested in because the home has been previously treated for termites. And this is something that we have to look for when doing home inspections. I'm just taking a look at the back of this house, and we see some water stains on the side of this chimney right here. These water stains coming down from the edge of the gutter right here. And the reason for that is that if we look right here, there's no diverter flashing, or sometimes referred to as a kick-out flashing, which is like a horseshoe piece of metal that directs water from this area back into the gutter. So that's the reason why we have this water staining here, is because we have a flashing that's missing right here. So that's something I'm going to put in the report and should be added to this house. So I'm just taking a look at this electrical wire right here, and it basically is run through a forest. So we don't really want to see this, where this electrical wire is rubbing on tree branches, on limbs, because it can get damaged, it can come loose, and we can lose power at this house. So I'm definitely going to tell the customer to try to have the power company trim out some of these branches. Now, sometimes the power company doesn't do this, and you're going to have to hire somebody to do this who really knows what they're doing, because they have to get close to this main electrical wire to the house. So this is something definitely to watch out for when you're buying a home in a wooded area, is check the location of the electrical wiring and make sure it doesn't go into a bunch of trees or forestry like this. So I'm looking at this bay window, and we see a lot of wood rot around this bay window. The wood is very soft over here. And what happens is that these gaps right here where the trims meet each other are not properly caulked. So water enters in here and it causes this type of wood rot. We see this a lot. And if we move down here, we can see this right here as well. Everything is really soft because water is entering and it's wicking inside. So these areas are going to have to be replaced just to prevent further water damage. And everything here is going to have to be properly caulked to prevent further water entry and damage to the new pieces that are going to be installed. So I'm looking at this brick veneer house, and it does have weep or drain holes, but we notice here that the weep or drain holes are obstructed with concrete or cement here. So this is a common issue that we have, because when the brick veneer was installed, sloppy work was performed and the drain holes were obstructed. If we move over here, we can see another one that's partially obstructed too. And so these are not going to drain properly. So they should be opened up and made to drain so we don't get water behind this brick causing damage. So I'm under a deck right now, and we can see some damage here where the deck actually meets the home. So this wall sheathing is all rotted. And the reason why it's rotted is because there is no deck flashing here where the deck ledger meets the house. So we should have a deck flashing here that's going to divert water from getting behind this deck ledger and causing this, type of damage. So this is pretty significant. We always want to make sure that we have a good connection of a deck to the house, and here we don't have that. So definitely repairs and corrections are going to be necessary here. So I'm in this attic, and I'm looking at these two attic exhaust vents, one here and one here. So these are two attic discharge pipes for the bathroom fans. And at least they tried to do something good here, but if we follow these all the way out, right, all the way out, we see that this one is disconnected, and this other one, actually both of them, exit into a gable vent right here at the side of the house, or this gable wall. So this vent right here is an intake vent. It's not made to exhaust anything. So that's going to kind of fight each other. So the discharge here and here are actually going to fight the airflow coming in from this vent, and it's going to kind of negate the ability of these two bathrooms to vent properly. So both of these bathrooms should be vented out through the roof, but these piping right here, these discharge pipes, should be a lot shorter. So the shorter the run we have, the more efficient the bathroom fans are going to be. So what I'm going to do is tell the client that these two bathroom fans should vent out right above here through the roof, close to the bathrooms, and this one as well, right out the roof, to be more efficient, because condensation is going to roll up in here and both of these bathroom fans are not going to operate properly. So just something to look out for when you're buying a house. Stick your head in the attic and see what's going on. So I'm looking at this older air conditioning unit right here, and part of what our job is as home inspectors is to give the client an idea of how old their equipment is: boiler, water heater, air conditioning unit. And so just by looking at this unit, I know that it's old. But what happens is we can go over here to the data plate, and this can give us a lot more information. So if we look at this data plate right here, we can see that this unit was manufactured in 2002. And typically units like this are going to have a life expectancy of about 10 to 15 years. So we can see that this unit is older and past its what we call statistical life expectancy. Also, we can see that we're running a Freon gas called R22. And this is important because they do not make this gas anymore. This is a refrigerant that's not ozone friendly. And so what happens is if this Freon gas were to leak out of this unit, or this unit would need a recharge, it would be quite expensive. So then the customer has to decide whether they're going to replace this unit altogether or get a very expensive recharge of this R22 gas. But ultimately, the take-home message is that we are on borrowed time with this unit, and eventually near-term replacement is going to be required because we're running this older R22 Freon gas. So I'm doing a termite or wood destroying insect inspection in this house, and this is actually the remnants of a bottom of a step. And we can see here that we have termite mud or mud inside here, and then we have these channels that were built right here, and this is usually indicative of a combination of termites and then carpenter ants. Carpenter ants come along and they clean out and they make these channels right here. So this is something that would have to be confirmed by a pest control company. You can see the termite mud here, but we're looking probably at a termite treatment in this house as well as a carpenter ant treatment. So I'm just taking a look at this newly installed bathroom shower, and we see here that it is newly installed, but we have all this water just backing up right over here. So water is not draining, and the reason why it's not draining is because this plumbing pipe is not properly connected to the sewer line, or we have an improper slope of that sewer line. I do have access to the sewer line cap, and I did open it, and there is no water running under here. So I suspect that we have some kind of blockage or a reverse pitch or some other issue that a plumbing contractor is going to have to repair. However, the issue is this is a brand new bathroom. So even on a newer home, you do want to make sure that you get a proper home inspection performed. So I'm just taking a look at this fireplace, and we notice this wood surround right here, right? So we have this wood surround really close to the fireplace opening, there should be at least 12 inches of offset around this fireplace to prevent fire hazards. So this wood surround and mantle, all this wood up here looks great. It's really nice, but really a fire safety hazard. So definitely something for the customer to consider, whether they're going to use this fireplace or not, whether they're going to keep this wood surround around this fireplace or not. But this will definitely fail a level 2 chimney inspection for sure. So I'm looking at this vent pipe from this water heater, and we can see that the vent pipe has a little bit of a valley right there, so a little bit of a dip right here. So a vent pipe should have a nice, gentle, gradual slope at its entry into this area, which is called the chimney thimble. But if we look over here, see this big gap where carbon monoxide can kind of backdraft in, and this is very, very loose. It's not safe to have this vent pipe like this. We need this vent pipe completely secure so this doesn't become displaced and we spew carbon monoxide from the water heater, you know, into the basement and maybe cause somebody to really have a problem. So vent pipes crucially important as home inspectors to check these, make sure that these are safe and ready to go. So take a look at this waste pipe here coming from a first floor bathroom. Look at that slope going up, 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 up over the beam. So water is just going to collect right in this this waste pipe right here. I can understand why they didn't want to pitch this correctly, which may mean, you know, cutting a hole in this beam, which done properly wouldn't be a problem, but that has to be done correctly. So we have some, you know, non-professional plumbing work over here. And if we move closer over here under the bathroom, we have this line right here with a back slope. That's why they put this clean out right there, most likely, is to clean the debris that gets stuck in this waste pipe. And this waste pipe right here is located under the second floor bathroom as well. So watch out for these plumbing defects like this. Here we have an improperly sloped, water does not run uphill under this bathroom in this flip house. So no bueno. So I'm just inspecting this attic right here, and we can see that we have an attic access that was installed, and this is a roof truss system right here. So we have trusses here, and one of the trusses was cut in order to accommodate this attic access opening, which is improper. We're not allowed to cut these roof trusses because that can create a structural problem. These are manufactured and engineered in a factory, and they're engineered a specific way. So when we cut them, we compromise them. So this is something that should be corrected professionally by a professional engineer. I know that this looks like a simple fix, but actually this is kind of a big deal because any modifications like this need to be approved by a structural engineer. And so that's something that we'll bring to the customer's attention and see where they want to go from here. If we rotate this way, we can see that this is the other area right there where that roof truss was compromised and cut. So moral of the story, no cutting of roof trusses. This house is from the early 1900s, and you can see here we have a very unfinished basement. We have low piping here for heat distribution. Back here we have our boiler, water heater. So it's not really a basement that you can spend a lot of time in as far as living space. But then if we go over here, what do we have? We have a brand new bathroom. So why do we have a brand new bathroom? This unfinished basement doesn't really make sense, and that's a new one on me, so I'm not really sure about this. So when we do home inspections, one of the things that we look at is a structure that's installed low to the grade like this. Do you see this siding? It's touching the grade level here, these rocks that are put around the exterior of the house for drainage. But this area of the home, because it's so low to the ground, will be more vulnerable to termites, carpenter ants, and wood rot. So when we go inside, we're going to be looking pretty heavily at the sill plate or structure that is close to the ground here to see if it is compromised. So if you're purchasing a home and you see that your house is touching the ground, that's not ideal. If you guys take a look at this chimney, what do we notice? The chimney protrudes the roof. It comes straight up through the roof, but on the sides of the chimney, there's no chimney flashing and there's no apron flashing. So there's nothing around this chimney to help prevent water penetration around it. So I bet when we go up to the attic space, we're going to be seeing a lot of water penetration around this chimney. So one of the things I'm going to recommend to the client is to install a proper chimney flashing. We do also know that the roof is older, so at the time the roof is replaced, a new chimney flashing should also be installed. So this is the underside of the roof framing under the chimney that doesn't have the flashing. Do you think we need a chimney flashing? I think we do. If we go this way, look at the water staining over here. And all this water staining here's our chimney right here. And all this water staining is caused by the lack of a chimney flashing that we saw from outside. Chimney flashing, super important to keep water out of the attic. So this has to be corrected along with a new roof system installed as well. So just looking at this retaining wall in the back of this house, and this is going to be a very expensive repair. We see this wall right here is cracked clean through and in structural failure. The reasons why these walls fail is because water collects in the back of this wall and it freezes. And when that water freezes, it expands and that pressure pushes on the wall, hydraulic pressure pushes on the wall. And if we look down here, there's no openings or holes down here called weep or drain holes to allow that pressure to relieve. So over the years, we have this wall just being pushed on, and eventually it just cracked through, and then the soil pressure continued to push it outward this way. So this is a wall in structural failure. It has to be replaced. Thank you for sticking with me that whole time. I appreciate it. If you want to like, that would be great. If you want to subscribe, I certainly would appreciate that. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about houses today, looking at these various defects in homes that you own or homes that you're thinking about buying. So when you're out there in the marketplace, make sure to stay empowered and keep your eyes open.